Hello. I am cleaning out some mortises and I want to talk to you about something that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Also, you're going to see me whacking this a little bit lightly. That's because the other day I did a video where I honed my chisels and I said you don't need to hit anything if your chisels are honed well enough. And then I spent hours trimming the shoulders here on these tenons just by putting a little force. And I went home that night and my shoulder hurt. So I'm just getting old, and it's not the age so much as it is I'm not exercising like I should or as often. And it's not because I can't. That's not an age thing. That's just partly it's an age thing. I just don't have the energy a lot of times when I get home because I'm working so hard physically. I'm not doing what I used to do my whole life, which is why I've been able to maintain muscle mass and stay fit and everything. Was I would work hard all day and I'd go home and I'd still work out. I'm not doing that like I should be. So yeah, you're going to see me tapping a little. But what I'm going to talk about is I was on the phone the other day with my pal Sabo. You guys might remember, and we've had our ups and downs, but I really like Sabo. I mean, I love the guy, and I have a lot of respect for him. It's a funny thing, though, because there's give me a couple lessons here. And also just an interesting subject matter, I think. I'm hoping this will be helpful for a lot of you. Because there's been many times where I've done things with Sabo and talked to him about different things, and then later, when we're talking, he'll repeat his version of what that conversation was, which is not what I said or what happened. I'll give you for instance, before I get to what happened the other night, which was, I remember back years ago when he did the Donald Trump screaming hand, you know, the Make America Great Again or Keep America Great, I think it was. Yeah, the CAG hand. I told him I was going up to Santa Cruz to visit a friend, and the hand was based on the Santa Cruz Screaming Hand skateboard thing. And he's like, oh, if you're going to go up there, here, take these. So he gave me all these posts, these big paper things. They were huge to put up with the glue. And I went all over Santa Cruz at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I put up, I don't know, like a dozen of those things. They were all down by 11 o'clock the next morning. But he asked me to do that. And then the funny thing was, funny not funny, he got a cease and desist order from the Santa Cruz skateboard company to not use that. And I told him not to worry about it because he did a different enough version of it, but he took it to heart, and so he kind of left that great design. And then later when we talked about it, he tried to make it sound like that was all me. I just went up there and did that, and it hurt him somehow. We're over it. It's not a big deal. And I had to remind him, like, no, man, that's not what happened at all. I told you I was going up there. You gave me these things and asked me to put them. I would never do that on my own accord. How could I even do that? Where would I get the things? So my point there is there's some people that when you're talking to them, they're not really listening to you. Case in point, I was just home for a minute for lunch, and he put a post up based on, I knew it was me he was talking about. We talked about this the other night. His post was, I think I started this video out with it. It's a screenshot. You know, he said he was talking to a friend the other day who said he gave up on politics because it doesn't make him happy. And the next part of it is his head went full tilt, wondering, do people think I do this because it makes me happy? I wrote a response there that it was too short, and I just wanted to get into this a little bit because this is not a dig on Sabo. I love Sabo. And one of my biggest pet peeves with people in general when they're complaining about politics is they don't do anything about it. They just complain about it. I don't want to listen to a bunch of people complain. I don't like listening to myself complain. So, yeah. But for 5 years, I worked with him to the point where I was literally climbing billboards anywhere from 2:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 60 feet or more in the air, no harness, nothing, climbing like a gorilla, and then changing these billboards around. I'll stop this video right here and then start it again, and I'll insert some images. They'll be from my Facebook page. I don't know how well they'll be done. But for those of you who don't know, you should see this stuff. And then I'll get back to this, what I was saying. Pretty cool, huh? I have to tell you, I don't agree with how he does a lot of the stuff, or what his thought process is, or what his point of view is necessarily, and some of it's a little crude for my taste. But we've got the First Amendment in this country, which is backed up by the Second Amendment. And he has the right to put his viewpoint out there, and I think that his viewpoint is important. Not enough people putting that viewpoint out. Mostly we're just being programmed with BS, right, from the media and whatnot. Half of what you think is true or what you believe is not even close to being reality. So the reason I brought that up and I showed you those pictures is just to let you know that for 5 years I actually went out there in the world and did something. Like, I kind of did something that made me feel like I made a difference. I put my body and life at risk because it was something I believed in. And it made me feel good. Now, the conversation I had with him the other night wasn't that I just gave up on politics because it doesn't make me happy. That's a oversimplification of what the discussion actually was. And again, this is not about me and him having a problem here, but it's giving me the opportunity to discuss this point, which is this. And again, this is twofold. One's going to be about the political thought process, and the other one's going to be about your own mental health, which is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. If you can't be a happy person, you're going to be miserable. Your life is going to suffer on all levels. Your relationships with people, your physical health. It's a terrible thing. This hammer has a convex and a concave side, and it's better to hit it with the convex side. Anyhow, the point I was making to him is, first of all, we can't believe anything we're being told, right? Almost everything we see in the media is a lie. And most people don't know history. They don't know their history. They believe a lot of nonsense. And nobody's going to do, nothing changes, all right? The only thing that's going to change or affect real change is if there is some sort of real action that takes place. And that's my point. And I mean, I hate to say it. I don't even think you can trust the elections anymore. I just don't. And that has nothing to do with just that 2020 election. Plenty of them. There's plenty of stuff that happens here in California that there was things that people voted for, and then Sacramento went against what the people wanted. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you know what that is. If you want to look into that, you'll find it. So we're no longer what we're supposed to be anyhow. The government is just running things, you know, the federal government. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to have states' rights and all that other stuff. But I can't focus on this stuff anymore because it just doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I've given up on politics. It just means I'm choosing to not pay attention to it that much anymore. I pay enough attention so I kind of know what's going on, but there's just no way I'm going to be this political wonk that I once was or thought I was. And I'm not going to be watching these cable news stations or any of that crap anymore, reading any. It's coming from points of view to get you to think a certain way, to divide us, and it's just nonsense. And again, nothing changes. And the point I made to him the other night on the phone was, look, if there isn't actually a civil war, like if we're going to start, if something's going to happen, I mean, look what's happening in Israel right now. That's crazy, right? If this was happening here, you can bet your ass I'm gearing up and I'm fighting. If there's a fight to do, I am there, 100%, no problem. But the squawking does nothing. It doesn't do anything. You're not changing. I've tried. I put stuff out there. This channel is not a political channel. I did it a little bit years ago. Again, I've got a playlist. I got too many playlists. I got too many videos. I'm prolific here, right? But I do have some in that folder, like random thoughts and interesting stories or something. I don't even know what it's called. But there's some stuff from 3 or 4 years ago on these topics. They got no views. So I don't want to polarize this thing. I don't want to alienate people, so I don't really want to get that into it. But the point I'm trying to make to you is getting upset, believing all the nonsense, being in a constant state of irritation. I mean, if you watch cable news, watch the commercials, right? Because all those channels, or excuse me, all those programs seem to be sponsored by drug companies. And the drugs that they're pushing are mental health drugs, right? So it's like, oh, here, we're going to totally depress you, get you angry, but here's a drug for it, so you can keep watching it and not totally be distraught. At least you can still go to work, because that's the most important thing. And speaking of work, this is what Sabo does. Like, his life revolves around the political spectrum. That's what inspires him. His art is political art. Straight up. He has to pay attention to that. And he admits it doesn't make him happy. So then what do? There's a choice there. Now, he's going to choose to keep doing it because that's what he knows. It's what he does. It's what he's good at. And he makes money from it. So good for him. But at what cost? That's kind of my point with this whole thing. It's like, if you're unhappy, why are you still doing that? Like, find a different way to make money that allows you to be happy or helps you to be happy, works on your, what's going on in your brain. I've got friends that don't even need to work. Like, they've got pensions from the military. Maybe they're even collecting Social Security now. And there's enough money coming in. They made investments. They've got money. They're still working. And you're going to say, well, if that makes them happy, okay, sure. But then when I talk to them, they're not happy. They're at work. They're complaining to me about the people that they're working with. And my thing is why are you complaining? You don't have to be there. You don't actually need it. You set yourself up. Why are you in your late 50s or early 60s? Financially, you don't need to work, but you're still working. What is that? Are you just addicted to that? Go have some fun, man. This is like the last chapter of your life. You're going to waste it surrounding yourself with people that you don't like, that annoy you? That's retarded. That goes all the way back to even when I was in the Marines. I realized I was surrounded by, and I'm not saying this is everybody there, but my whole command. I mean, I was surrounded by a bunch of assholes. So I said to myself, I'm going to spend years with a bunch of... No, I'm not going to do that. And I figured that shit out. Boom. It's like that video I did the other day, even with the radio show thing. If I'm not happy, I am not going to be there. I don't need to be there. Don't need to be there. If there's something in it for me where I can suck it up because it makes sense to do so, like Sabo does, where you're going to get paid to be in a situation... I'll tell you what, if you're not happy and you're in a situation, you damn well better be compensated for your time in some way that makes your unhappiness worth it. I still don't think anything could make your unhappiness worth it, personally. That's the number one thing. You should strive to be one of those annoying people that are happy all the time. We all hate those people at some point in our lives. I know those people used to annoy the hell out of me. Now I find myself striving to be one of them. Because when I'm happy and I'm in a good mood, my thoughts are better. I'm more apt to help people out. If something comes up, I'm more apt to go out and do it. It's just better all across the board. I sleep better at night. I don't have, when I have a problem with somebody, I've got to rectify that or nip that in the bud one way or another as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm having dreams about stuff, or I'm lashing out. I'm surly. Your mental health, again, it is your number one thing. Your time is your most precious commodity. All right? Why are you spending time with people that annoy you? Don't tell me it's because it's family, because that's bullshit too. All right, if it's your family, they should love you, right? They should respect your wishes. You should be able to share with them what's up. Hey man, I need you to stop doing this that way. Respect that. Now, if you do that repeatedly, but that person, whether it's a family member or an old-time friend or a new friend or work colleague, whatever it is, if they continually engage in the behavior that you've asked them to not do around you, and you've explained why, you've articulated it, and they continue to do it, you need to walk, man. You need to walk. What are you gonna? You're gonna just keep staying in this crappy situation? So, if you're in a situation where you have to make you know what? Who really drives me crazy are the talking heads in the media, in particular, cable news, when they know that they're lying. All right, you know what's been going on the last 3-4 years, really, a lot longer than that. But just all the lies in the last 3-4 years that have been supported by these people who look right into the camera and tell you this. And this is how it is, and this is what we know, and blah, 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 boom. And they get a bunch of people on, and they talk about it all from one side, and they make all these plausible assumptions, and they put it out there in a way that's matter of fact. And then you hear it, and you hear it again later, and then you hear it again on late night television, and then it's reverberating all through the entertainment world, and these stupid writers that are on strike who are writing all this woke nonsense and all this stuff that creates division and everything else. You hear it enough times, you just accept it as reality. When in fact, it's all a lie. And it's just designed to divide us, make you angry, keep you in a constant state of fear and anxiety. And hey, we got that anxiety medication for you. It's the same thing with eating crap. Hey, oh man, oh yeah, I got heartburn. Oh, I got acid reflux. That my teeth are rotting out of my head from vomiting and all kinds of other problems. But hey, take this pill right here. You don't have to change your diet. You don't have to change it all, man. You just take this pill and it'll relieve the symptoms of that issue. They don't go away. It'll just relieve like the little bit of the pain. You still got the issue. Doesn't, you know. You don't have to make any changes. That's BS, man. You need to work on yourself, and you need to work on being happy, and you need to work on making your surroundings happy, and you need to work on creating a situation where the people in your life are good for you. That's what you need to do. And if you got people in your life who are constantly aggravating you, you're constantly getting arguments with them, which I'm not having to say, but that's not what this is about. But if that's what's revolving around you, you need to make some changes, man. Sit down with that person and watch this video and go, you see what he's saying here? This is how I feel with us. How do you feel? Maybe that person doesn't even realize it. A lot of the times, that's all it is. They don't even realize they're doing it. And look, you might, there is this other side of things. Some of you are looking at the screen right now and talking. You're like, what about these people that are just, they're wrong. What they want is unreasonable. They're not seeing it the right way. Okay, well then at least discuss it. Have the discussion. You have to communicate. You have to tell the people how you feel. That's it. Doesn't mean you have to be a wuss about it. And by the way, sharing your feelings about something doesn't automatically make you some kind of wimp. I mean, we all have feelings, man. The difference is a mature adult person should be able to separate their feelings from how they interact with the world. Like, you can't make life decisions based on your feelings. You can't run a country based on how you feel. That's crazy. Philosophy 101, one of the first things you learn in that class when you go to college is feelings are unreliable. You can feel... You got women friends? How many of you got women friends out there? This is a fascinating thing with me with women. I've got a lot of female friends. I listen to them, we talk, I listen to what's going on in their lives. They might have somebody in their life right now that they're like, I hate this person does this, does that, he's done this, said that, went behind my back, lied, created all this stuff, fucked my husband, whatever it is. I'm on your side. You've got me. I'm an ally. Everything you said is totally crazy to me. And then a week later, a couple days later, however long, they're friends with that person again. And now I got to process this in my brain. Like, okay, now I got to be okay with this person after everything they did to you. Did that not happen? No, it happened. But, we talked. What the hell, man? I used to have this girlfriend, and she used to talk to me about her girlfriends and the horrible things they were doing, cheating on their husbands and all that. And then she'd ask me to go out to these events with these people, Christmas parties, dinners, birthday parties, whatever. And I didn't want to go. And she, what's the problem? So I know who these people are based on what you told me, and now you want me to go out and pretend I like them. Can't do that. Can't do that. I know that what I'm saying is easier said than done, as far as like, you can't just walk away from your job, but you should at least plan on that. When I was young and I got out of the service, I remember I jumped around a bunch of different jobs, but at one point I was doing cabinet shop work. I had like 5 cabinet shop jobs in as many weeks because different reasons. One reason was I'd get hired. I had a good, like a guy that knew these guys. He was local to the area, well respected, put in a good word for me. So they hired me, and they were starting my pay at a high rate, higher than most of the other guys working the shop, as high as guys that have been working there forever. And I didn't say anything about what I was getting paid, but somehow somebody found out. And then a week into it, boss calls you in the office, like, I can't pay you this because it's making the other guys feel bad. So I left. I had a couple other times where I showed up to the job and they told me what they were going to pay me. And then, well, I'll tell you this one part. This one place agreed to pay me X. This is not a lot of money, by the way. Back then, if you were making $8 an hour, that was pretty good money. $10 an hour was excellent. We're talking like the mid to late 1980s. And I remember this shop hired me. They put me on a job to start building a cabinet, like a vanity for a bathroom. It was going to be with the counter on it. It was going to be like a Formica or something. I could do laminate and all that. So I started it. I got the plans. I was digesting it. I got the parts. I had the sheet goods. I started making some basic cuts. Took me off of it. Had me go out with a guy driving around in a truck all day on some deliveries. Came back late in the afternoon and went back to my bench and started to work on this cabinet. Boss calls me in the office before the end of the day and he says, listen, I don't think you have as much experience as I thought you did, so I'm not going to pay you what I agreed to. But I can give you this much. And I remember looking at him like, what are you basing that on? You haven't seen me do anything. I didn't even really started the project yet. I've been here one day. I think it was based on whatever I discussed with the guy in the truck, So I said, well, I'm not going to do that. I quit. I'll come back tomorrow to get my paycheck for today. And I came back the next morning, and everybody in the shop was outside waiting for this guy to arrive, and they were all talking, and we all started talking, and they're like, so what do you think? I'm like, oh, I'm quitting. I quit last night. I'm just here to pick up a check for yesterday. And they're like, oh, wow, really? It's like, yeah, it's kind of a tough place. Apparently, the guy had cut back on their benefits. He wasn't paying like health benefits or anything, and he gave them all pay cuts. But he also went out and bought himself a new car at the same time. And I told them, every guy there, I said, just quit and get another job. I've had 5 of these shop jobs in 5 weeks. There's no shortage of work out there. You can find another job, man. You can find a job where there's people who respect you. That exists, Or you can get good at a trade and figure it out for yourself. I'm just saying. I couldn't believe that situation. And I never went back to shop work after that, actually. I couldn't take it. But I know the way that I think is not for everybody. Not everybody has that strong mental thing. A lot of people are more comfortable. They feel like they need that kind of safety thing. I got the gig. Let me hold on to that. I don't want to jeopardize this job. I need this job. So I will put up with being harassed, or I'll put up with being talked down to. I'll tolerate coworkers that annoy me and make me crazy. That's all nonsense, man. What is that doing to you? What's that doing to your mental health? What's it doing to your physical health? Are you overeating because of it? Comfort food and all that? What's going on? When you're talking to your friends or you're pissing and moaning all the time, nobody likes a complainer. Nobody. I don't like when I hear myself complain. If I hear myself say something negative enough times, I absolutely change it. I change my behavior. I change my situation because I don't even want to listen to myself complain. You heard? Ah, I hope I covered everything I wanted to cover there. I think that's about it. So, yeah, it's not that I've given up on politics. I don't know if I said this already, but I know there's some great Greek philosopher who once said, I'm paraphrasing, you can choose not to take an interest in politics, but politics will surely take an interest in you. So you can't totally not pay attention to politics, but you can choose to not watch cable news for hours a day and allow yourself to be manipulated. You can make that choice. And I think that if you put enough time into it, you have to come to the conclusion, a thinking person is going to come to the conclusion that nothing's changing, right? I mean, things have been getting worse. As far as affecting change, when you can't trust your your elections, right? And when you know that people are screwing us over, you know the people in the government, and you know now that people in the government, a lot of them are just stupid. The way that they phrase things, the way they put their little sentences together to elicit an emotional thing in your brain to get you to take their side or get you to hate another group that has nothing to do even with the subject that they're really talking about at any given moment. When you see it, you have to make the choice to not allow yourself to pay attention to it. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, I think it's way past time to have like some sort of revolution or something, but is that really going to happen? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I kind of wish it would happen because I'd be down. But you're not going to get the one side to go out in a bunch of pink pussy hats and the other side to go out in a bunch of, trucker caps and denim jeans and, fight it out amongst one another. It's just not going to happen. If it did happen, it wouldn't last long. So, short of that, we just kind of have to put up with this somehow. I kind of wish they'd bring back tar and feathers, You have a situation where, well, just to go back to this, and again, I don't like being political, but before that last election, the presidential election, when the laptop thing came out and all of that, you were being shut down. Your profiles were being canceled if you brought that up because that was Russian disinformation. And now we know that that was a lie. That everything, the laptop, everything was true. I'm just using this one example. I got 5 or 6 examples in my head right now, but I don't want to make this video about that. Multiple examples of where you're being lied to by the media. And that's all the left. I'm not trying to pick one side over the other. I'm just saying it how it is. They're controlling the message. They're lying. They've been proven to be liars. But the same people keep listening to the same people over and over again for the information and still believing it. That is crazy to me. I don't understand that at all. But until those people who are putting the message out there are dealt with, and something has to happen to them in a way, because until that happens, nothing will change. They're being told what to say, right? Those people they're not coming up with this. All the media corporations are only owned by a small group of people. There's 3 groups that are pretty large groups that encompass a lot of people, wealthy people, who control all the media on the planet, which is why you hear the same messages everywhere. That New World Order thing, it's not a conspiracy thing. Look into it. So they're telling the people on the news that you're hearing what to say. It's all written for them. So I think if something happens with these people who are putting the message out there, then enough of them are going to stand and go, well, I don't want that to happen to me. I'm not going to say that. That might throw a wrench into the works there. I don't know. I'm a problem solver. If I sat here and talked this out with some other intelligent people, other contractors, people who solve problems for a living, not attorneys, because they don't care about right or wrong, those people. They care about winning. That's a crazy mindset there too. If you're not a principled person and you only care about being right or you only care about winning, that's a problem. That's a problem. So we're in a tough spot right now. You know, I don't see it getting any better. But my whole point of the whole thing is yeah, I'm not giving up on politics. I'm paying attention enough, but I'm not going to watch it all the time. I'm not going to engage in a discussion. I'm not going to argue with anybody over it. It's a waste of time. When I'm forced to have to deal with somebody and they say something that I think is stupid, just wrong, I correct them. Well, I heard what you said there. This is what I've heard about that, or this is what I know, and I don't want you to believe me. I want you to think about what I'm saying, and if it makes any kind of sense to you, you should look into what I've looked into, right? So at least you have another perspective, another frame of reference. Maybe you can augment your belief system. And beliefs are hard, man. Hard to change a belief. You can have an idea, you can have a thought, you can be like, well, I think this is like how it is. As long as you keep your mind open to new information for the possibility of change. You know, a lot of things I thought when I was young that I was just wrong about. Now I know different, right? So, yeah. And they love to mess with the young minds. They love to put bad ideas in young minds. And keep in mind that your brain isn't even fully developed till you're in your mid to late 20s. You look at what they're doing to our kids with the education system and the nonsensical, stupid ideas they're putting in their minds, knowing that they can't really think for themselves yet fully. They don't have enough life experience. And if they're growing up super soft, given everything they want and all the technology and everything else, along with bad ideas, and they can vote, they're going to vote for a bunch of stupid bad ideas. And eventually when they get older, they're going to look back and go, boy, that was stupid. What was I thinking? But it's too late by then. So we're in this kind of a paradox here. It's a problem, man. Anyhow, I'm doing more talking than working, and I got to get back to work. I got to clean out all these mortars. There's a whole table there. There's what's in front of me. But thanks for listening. I don't expect this video to get a whole bunch of likes or views, but I hope it helps somebody out there, you know. Cut the bad out. Look at the bad like it's a cancer. You got to get rid of it, you know. One bad apple, right? Think about your happiness. If you're not... I think there's a whole bunch of people in the world. I think Sabo might be one of them. They just accept the fact that there's no such thing as happiness. There's just life. Life is just bleh. That's just how it is, man. I got to get up. I got to do this. I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll get here someday, and maybe when I get older, I'll retire and then have some happiness. Well, what's your state of mind going to be like after 20 or 30 years of working in an environment that made you miserable? What's your physical health going to be like after 20 years or 30 years of being in an environment that was detrimental to you, you know, that was not good? I can't even imagine that. I've avoided that that's why I'm a pretty happy guy. I've avoided it. Whenever I've dealt with somebody who was giving me grief, I dealt with it directly. Right? If I could get out of the situation, I got out of the situation. If I was forced to deal with it, I deal with it directly. At that moment, you know. So, you know, it works for me. Might not work for you. I realize that not everybody's the same. I get it. But I care about you. I want you to be a happy person. If you don't know what happiness is, man, go on that journey. Learn to meditate, read, figure it out, man. Look at people that you think are happy, that you respect, and look into their lives and read what they read and understand what they had to go through to become happier. Whatever it takes, right? The Dalai Lama, be the change you want to see. It's real, right? And there's kind of a magic to the world too that I didn't know about when I was younger. And you can manifest things, and you can communicate with the universe. And I know I'm sounding like a hippie right now, but it's real. It's real. And I didn't know that when I was young, and I avoided it, and I never asked for anything. But once I opened myself up to it and listened and heard it and asked and received changed my world, changed my point of view. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. All right, that's it. Have a good day. Be good to one another, and choose to be happy.